Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles for the edification and knowledge. And to Wadi Yah, Ba'ashim, Yahshua, for putting the spirit of the elders and apostles so we become edified regarding knowing this truth and knowledge, learn this truth and knowledge. Call Holy Yah, Ba'ashim, Yahshua, Ba'ashim, Rakakadash. Give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahshua, Ba'ashim, Rakakadash. Ezekiel 21, I'm going to read Ezekiel 21, 8 through 12. Again, the word of the Lord, Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesies, into what he's telling to Ezekiel. Prophesies and say, thus saith the Lord, say, a sword is sharpened, also furbished. So that sword is being furbished, refurbished, being pretty much being fixed, being molded, being shaped, being forged, man. And when you refurbish something, you're pretty much remodeling it. So they remodel it to shape it and forge it and as it needs to be, as a weapon, pretty much. Number 10. It is a sharpened to make a sword slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. So we then make mirth. It contempteth the rod of my son as every tree. 11. And he have given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. And that's relating to a blacksmith, because a blacksmith, what they do is forge and shape relating to iron and metals, and they forge it to in the design they want to make it, and they put that with Isaiah 54 and 16. And he have given it to be furbished, number 11, that it may be handled. The sword is sharpened and is furbished, to give it into the hand of the slayer. The hand of the slayer is the wicked, but also ultimately is Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahshua is ultimately the slayer of it, using the left hand side for the purpose, because the sword is pretty much what's going to be used for judgment, man. Cry and howl, son of man, for it shall be upon my people. It shall be upon all the princes of Israel, and terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. House begins at the judgment. The judgment begins in the house of Israel. First of Peter's. Let me get it exactly. I'll read it. First of Peter's 4:17. Shalaki 4:17. For the time is come that judgment might begin at the house of God. And if it begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel that obey not the gospel of God? So that's the rest of them, man. So it begins in the house of God, which is the house of Israel, man. That's our First of Peter 4:17, man. So the judgment, the sword, it begins with the house of Israel, man. And that's Zechariah 13 and 8. For 2/3 part will be cut off, and 1/3 will be left therein. For more are going to perish than be saved. For they should know it. They should know it by death, by pain. That relates to the nation of Israel. That also relates to the other nations as well. Because the majority of that's pretty much what that is. 11 again, he have given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. The sword is sharpened, and it be furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer. Number 12, cry and howl, Son of man, for it shall be upon my people. It shall be upon all the princes of Israel. Terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. Smite therefore upon thy people. So the house, it begins in the house of Israel, man. Right to the sword, man. All right, let's go to Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. That smith blowing the coals in the fire. And he bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And ultimately he's bringing that instrument. That instrument is going to be used for to execute judgment, man. So that blacksmith is that forger, man. The one who is going to shape, using the metals and the irons to shape it as that instrument as to be used for specifically. 16. Behold, I have created the smith and that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy, man. And the waster ultimately is this missiles. So the blacksmith is shaping and molding that instrument for a weapon of destruction, man. That's the missiles ultimately, symbolically. That's what that is. Let's go to these scriptures is the bitter of the Bible, man. The Bible is not all love, you know. There's love and there's the bitter, man. This is the bitter, man. This is what they're not going to tell you in the churches, man, because 501c3, which is another lesson, pretty much puts that gag order for them to limit on what they can talk about and what they can't, what they can talk about and what they can't. That's that gag order, man. But this is all scripture. Let's go to the scripture says the truth shall set you free. So the truth is going to set you free by knowing the truth, man. Because the lies have dumbed the people and pretty much put them in a trance, man. Shalaki for going off. Let's get Revelation 6 and 12 and 13. Revelation 6 and 12 and 13. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. Now what's going to cause that great earthquake ultimately is the missiles, man. Talk about scripture, the earth is going to move to and fro. It's going to be drunk, man. It's going to literally move off its axis, man. So the earthquakes are going to, the power of the combustion of the earthquakes is going to move literally to and fro of the earth, man. And behold, when he opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth. And that's part of the sign. Sun is black cloth. The stars no longer shine. The constellations fall. That relates to also the pretty much the dots of relating to those missiles, the various numerous of missiles as well, the multitude of missiles. So that's parts of the signs. I'll read it again. And beheld, when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, so it became black, dark, and the moon became as blood, man. That's part of that sign, man. And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth the untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. That mighty wind relates to the radiation and the thrust and the power of those missiles, man. Let's go to Isaiah 13:9 and 11. Isaiah 13:9 and 11. Isaiah 13:9, 9 through 11, and also Isaiah 14 and 23. Isaiah 13:9. Before I go to there, let's go to Isaiah 34 and for the sword, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is here, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. That's pretty much the land of Babylon that's going to come upon. That's that judgment. Go to Isaiah 13 and 9. Isaiah 13 and 9. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel. You put that with Amos 5:16 and 20. For the day of the Lord is gonna, it's not gonna be a day of light, but of dark, very dark. For what Scripture talk about, for what good is for the day of the Lord, for what end is it gonna be for you? Pretty much, it's asking a question. You know, it's gonna be a day of dark, very dark, not light, but very dark. You know, Lord will not get it. Let's get 13 and 9. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both in wrath and fierce in anger, to lay the land desolate, and it shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. That's the judgment. The stars of the heavens and constellations thereof shall not give their light. So it's going to be very dark. And here's the signs. The sun shall be darkened like sackcloth. The sun shall be darkened, and his goings forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. So these are parts of the signs that's going to happen, man. 14 and 23. Isaiah 14 and 23. I will also make it a possession for bittern. Let me read it again. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water. And I will sweep with abyssum of destruction, saith the Lord. Now, the abyssum relates to a broom, so it's going to be like a spiritual wind of cleaning, man. Upon pretty much the dirt and the filth that's been accumulated, man. So that's that spiritual broom, man. That abyssum. I'm gonna get let me get Amos 5 and 16. That'll be the last one. Something short. 476, page. Amos 5 and 16, the day of the Lord. Therefore the Lord, the God of hosts, this is armies, the Lord saith, wailing shall be in the streets, and they shall say in all the highways, alas, alas. And they shall call the husbandmen to mourning, and such are skillful in lamentation to wailing. So it's going to be a lot of wailing and mourning. And in all the vineyards there shall be wailing, for I will pass through thee, saith the Lord. And how the Lord is going to pass through there relate to the judgments, man. Different forms of judgments, diversities of judgment that's going to happen. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. For what end is it for you? Because people have an anticipation how they think is that time is going to happen, and it might not be what they've been taught that is going to be. So they're pretty much their delusive, their delusion of interpretation, but of what they think the day of the Lord is going to be when he comes back, because pretty much the interpretations of what's been taught in the churches and stuff. So, and just asking the question, for what end is it going to be to you? And that's really to the majority of the other people, man. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. That's a warning for destruction. For what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. So it's telling you it's not going to be a good day, man. It's going to be not a day of light, sunshine, and happiness, man. It's going to be a day of dark. Because, like I was saying, a lot of have a delusion of a false interpretation of how they think the Lord is going to be when he comes back, man. And according to Scripture, it's very bitter, man. It speaks very bitter about the day of the Lord, man. Let's read it again. It's 5 and 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? For the day of the Lord is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, and went into the house, and he leaned his hand on the wall, and the serpent bit him. So in that inevitable, inescapable circumstances, simultaneously, that individuals are going to go through, man. They're going to leave and try to flee from one situation and run right into another one, and because it's going to be a variety of armada of circumstances that's going to happen in that time. You're going to have famines. You're going to have different things. You're going to have different forms of judgment. You're going to have different things going on according to Scripture, man. So these things are inescapable, man. So many are trying to flee for one situation and run right into another. Read 19 again. As if a man did flee from the lion, and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and the serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it? So that's talking literally. So that's going to be a day of dark, man. And this is just something short, you know. A few scriptures. And give all praise. I hope it helps whoever listens. This is Brother Zayab, means wolf. Give all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yashah Bashem Rakakadash. Shalom. Thanks.